Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Wednesday, May 14th. Ian Cameron with you. For now, just yours truly. We will have Perlo joining the rotation in just a bit. We started the show a few minutes later today just to give Perlo, our guy, a little bit more time to hop in, but he will be with us here in just a little bit. And looking forward, obviously, to another two-game slate in Stanley Cup playoffs action tonight. We've got Game 5 between the Florida Panthers and the Toronto Maple Leafs. This is a huge swing game in the series. And 2-2, the Leafs, or the home team, has won every game. And definitely, probably a little extra pressure on this Leafs team tonight to hold serve. It would be a tough task to win 2 in a row if they lose tonight. So a very important Game 5 there with the Panthers and the Leafs. And we've also got Edmonton and Vegas Game 5 as the Edmonton Oilers, up 3-1, look to finish off the Vegas Golden Knights and avenge a playoff loss a couple years ago to the Vegas Golden Knights. So we'll see if Edmonton can finish off the Golden Knights tonight in that game. 2 games on tap. And before we get into recapping the one game last night, Dallas and Winnipeg, we have a surprise announcement right here on the show. And this is affecting all of our Patreon Ice Guys members because this certainly involves you guys. We obviously, thanks to everybody for joining us on the Betcast last night. We appreciate it. It was obviously always good times, but for the Stars and the Jets game last night, we appreciate all of you joining us for it. And the surprise announcement has to do with our next Ice Guys Patreon exclusive live Betcast, and it's going to be sooner, much sooner than you think.
This is breaking news from the Ice Guys.
How about tonight? That's right. Tonight, we have ourselves another Ice Guys live Betcast coming up, starting at a surprise added Betcast, starting at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Game 5, Panthers, Leafs, Oilers, Golden Knights, Patreon exclusive, a second consecutive Betcast, 2 Betcasts in 2 nights back to back. I know our Patreon members are going to be excited about that. There is one caveat to this one, though. Yours truly will not be on. I will not be on this Betcast. There's previous arrangements, previous commitments. I've made plans to hang out with some of my neurotic, insane, paranoid Leaf fan friends for the Panthers-Leafs game tonight. So I will not be around for it. But hosting this Betcast will be the guy joining me on the show today in just a bit, Perlo. Perlo is going to take over the hosting reins of the Betcast tonight, starting at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. He'll be on for the whole thing. You're going to see a lot of our normal Ice Guys viewers and listeners, I'm sure, popping on during the stream. So make sure you check it out. Live Betcast hosted by Perlo tonight. And it was Perlo's idea for this. I wouldn't have signed off on it without him being adamant that he wanted to do a Betcast tonight. And I said, well, hold on now. I'm not going to be here for it. We can't do a Betcast if, and Alex is still trying to get his internet back up and running. Back home, he's got to get his internet phone back, and that won't be until at least tomorrow. So Alex is out of commission still. So I said to Perlo, I mean, you have this grand idea to do a Betcast tonight. I ain't going to be around for it. I hope you realize that. And he said, that's okay. I still want to do it. So Perlo will be fine, no doubt. And we wanted to do it for you guys because I know a lot of our Patreon members, you're going to turn down another live Betcast. We're trying to give you content. We're trying to make it worth it to be Patreon members for $10 a month. Make it worth your while. Make it worth your buck, if you will. So Perlo will be on the Betcast. To be honest with you, there is a chance I do make an appearance. There will be an Ian Cameron sighting at some point during the Betcast. It'll definitely be during the Edmonton-Vegas game, if at all. It wouldn't be during the first game. But I do have to be back home for Gabe Morency and Cam Stewart. I do the show with them every Wednesday night, Sports Rage Late Night. in the 11 o'clock p.m. Eastern time hour. I'm on with them for about 40 minutes until midnight. So I got to do that spot as I do every Wednesday night. So I'll probably drop in, say hello on the Betcast, probably just before I go on the air with Morency and Cam Stewart. So I'll probably stop in, in the 10:45, 11 o'clock range tonight. So I'll make a small little cameo appearance. But this is Perlo's show. He's driving the bus tonight for the Patreon exclusive live Betcast. So support our guy Perlo. And again, if you want Betcast action and Betcast camaraderie, as usual, with our great Ice Guys family and community, make sure you join us tonight at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. Absolutely. If Terry Edelman wants to come on and Perlo, invites him, I'm sure that wouldn't be an issue. Terry Edelman's not, is sometimes passes on the Betcasts, but certainly reach out to him, or Perlo can definitely. So, like I said, 7 p.m. Eastern time tonight, Game 5, Panthers, Leafs, Oilers, Golden Knights. Again, no me, no Alex, but Perlo will host. And, of course, all of you are invited to tune in and join the stream tonight, all our great Patreon members. So make sure you tune in at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern time for the live Betcast tonight, hosted by Perlo. I was going to wait to make the announcement until he joined me here, but I said, we got to get the word out there so people can make their plans for tonight. So 7 p.m. Eastern, a bonus special last minute Ice Guys live Betcast for tonight for the 2 Game 5 matchups taking place, Panthers, Leafs, Oilers, Golden Knights. And again, if you're a Patreon member, we'll post the link just before the Betcast, the YouTube link, and then you can just leave. The very important with me not being there tonight, that if you want to join the stream, you leave your email and your email address where we can send you the link on the comments section below where we post the YouTube link on the Patreon page, because I've got to be able to send that email address to Perlo so he can send you the link for the Betcast. So that's very important. So again, looking forward to it tonight, Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern, hosted by Perlo. Patreon exclusive Ice Guys live Betcast. All right, let's talk about last night's one game. It was Dallas and Winnipeg, and it was a Dallas Stars 3-1 victory to take a 3-1 series lead in the series over the Winnipeg Jets. And Mikko Rantanen decided, you know what, I've had some legacy games in these playoffs. I've certainly done my part to help the Dallas Stars win hockey games. I'm going to pass the baton tonight to my country mate, Michael Granlund. And boy, what a night for Michael Granlund. He gets a hat trick, all 3 Dallas Stars goals last night in that game. Got him going with a power play goal, a nice wrist shot right inside the blue line. Of course, on the penalty kill, if you're Winnipeg, you just can't give up that much time and space to Michael Granlund. And unfortunately, they did. He gets the power play goal, gives them a 1-0 lead. Very unfortunate because the Jets at 5-on-5 really had a solid first period. Quite honestly, had a really solid game at 5-on-5. But again, all Swedish, no finish last night with the with the Winnipeg Jets as far as getting their chances to find the back of the net. Other than Nikolai Ehlers, who tied the game early in the second period with a goal that, look, Jake Ottinger, and we said it on the Betcast at the time, that's one of the worst goals he'll give up. It was just he wasn't expecting Nikolai Ehlers to shoot the puck toward the net from the boards like that. You can tell, definitely threw him off a little bit. And that was an unfortunate goal to give up. But boy, did he ever make up for it the rest of the game. He was absolutely terrific the rest of the game. A brick wall for the Dallas Stars. Jets had their looks. Jets had their chances. Again, they didn't play that bad, a 5-on-5 game, but couldn't find the back of the net. That ended up being an issue. They made one critical mistake late in the second period when the game was tied 1-1 and the game was in reasonable shape at the time for the Jets, where they got caught up ice. They give up an odd man rush, and Michael Granlund goes roof job on Connor Hellebuck to give them the 2-1 lead in the second period. Then in the third period, a very ill-timed penalty and 4-minute double minor for the Winnipeg Jets when they're already down a goal, trying to tie the game. And just when it looks like they're about to get out of killing that 4-minute power play and really getting a momentum boost, only being down 2-1, Michael Granlund ends up ripping another shot from the faceoff dot over Connor Hellebuck's shoulder for a 3-1 lead. The hat trick, the hats rain down on the ice, and all that potential momentum that would have went the Winnipeg Jets' way had they killed off that 4-minute power play just absolutely went out the window at that point in time. Dallas regained, firm control of the game and really didn't look past it from that point on. We do have to mention, too, right before Granlund got the power play goal, the power play was kind of spotty for the Dallas Stars. Like they really hadn't had a great power play up till that point. Trouble keeping the puck in the zone a couple of times. They had given up before that goal the best chance on that Stars power play before Granlund scored was Kyle Connor shorthanded. He had a breakaway, and what a terrific save it was by Jake Ottinger with his left pad. That save was massive, because if Connor scores there, shorty, and it's 2-2, it could be a completely different game last night. But he made a phenomenal save there. Granlund makes it 3-1, and the rest is history. The Jets survive. It was kind of a frustrating betting game for me because we had the only thing that really hit was Dallas puck line, -1.5. But the team total fell agonizingly short. Frustration that, Dallas really didn't have a lot of great looks to make it 4 goals into the empty net. It was frustrating, Bruce, no doubt. So I feel, because I was confident in Dallas winning that game and keeping the road problems going for the Winnipeg Jets and for Connor Hellebuck, I felt like I should have done better from a profit standpoint in that game than I did. And unfortunately, we didn't. The money line, I just didn't love the price at -150. Maybe I should have gone with that, but I at least had the puck line -1.5. The small shot with the -2.5 fell short, but to fall short with the 3.5 and the 4.5 with the team total, that was the frustrating part. That we couldn't get Dallas to 4 goals there in that game. That being said, we more than made up for it with the betcast, because we had both teams to score in the second period, which I ended up cashing. And if we all jumped on, and Peanut deserves a lot of credit for this, because he's kind of the guy that put the idea out there to place a live bet on Michael Granlund to get the hat trick, and it was anywhere from +750 to +900 at the time. And I think this was early in the third period, right before Dallas got that 4-minute power play. And we were just hoping Granlund was going to get a chance, to score into the empty net later in the game. We weren't necessarily banking on Michael Granlund getting a natural goal in the course of the third period. But sure enough, they got that 4-minute power play, and Michael Granlund does indeed get his hat-trick goal. And I think everyone that was on the stream, on the Betcast stream at the time, and many of our Patreon members that were tuning into the Betcast in the YouTube chat, I would say 80% of us, 70 at least percent of us bet that Michael Granlund live hat trick, which again was anywhere from +750 to +900. So that was great. That really did help. It certainly helped me out, in a game where I felt it could have been more profitable than it was. But nevertheless, give Dallas credit. And I guess for the Winnipeg Jets, it's another road loss. It's now an unbelievable, when you think about it, 1-11 for this team in their last 12 road playoff games. But for the first time this year, they actually don't give up 5 goals or more in a road playoff game. So I guess if you want to look at it as a glass half full scenario for the Winnipeg Jets and for their struggling goaltender when it comes to road playoff games, Connor Hellebuck, I guess if you're going to look at it glass half full, you can say, well, it's baby steps of improvement here for the Winnipeg Jets. You only gave up 3 goals last night on the road. That's kind of hollow consolation, though, considering you still lost the game and considering that now you're down 3-1 in the series last night. You got to wonder, too, that was just such a bad timing to have a high sticking penalty for Hayden Fleury, who is, one of their depth defensemen. You got to wonder if he's going to be in the lineup for Game 5. Is there some Scott Arniel doling out some punishment that, hey, accidental or not, you got to control your stick at that time of the game. We're on the road. We're struggling mightily on the road as it is. You got to have control of your stick in that moment. And taking that 4-minute penalty by Hayden Fleury was just a dagger for this Jets team, especially with Granlund making it count and getting that power play goal to gain separation and give Dallas a 3-1 lead. It's just, didn't mean to do it, but it's already hard enough for your team to win on the road, and then you take that kind of penalty. You just simply have to have control of your stick, and he certainly wasn't able to in that situation. And now Dallas has a chance. Now, Dallas, the job's not done. this is still a Winnipeg team that is very good at home. It's a Winnipeg team that is number one in the West in the regular season, President's Trophy winners. So you still have to get the fourth one, and it's still the hardest game to win. But certainly Dallas puts themselves in a really good spot going into Game 5 now against the Winnipeg Jets. I'm convinced Mark Scheifele's not 100%. I'm convinced that even Morrissey, you could see, I don't think he's totally 100%, but definitely Scheifele. I think he's still battling something pretty significant, and I don't think he's playing at the level that he needs to be right now for this Jets team, but I think injury certainly has something to do with it. Great stuff from the Stars last night, though. I thought the way they handled Heiskanen was perfect. He got, 15 minutes of ice time last night. They didn't drain him. They didn't wear him into the ice in his first game back in months. They didn't ask for 25, 30 minutes of him in the first game back. So, you look at this situation, and I think it was perfect. You still had guys like Thomas Harley, who got another assist last night, Essa Lindell, Cody Ceci. They all played more minutes and had more shifts last night than Miro Heiskanen. I don't mind that one bit. I think it's definitely the right move. I like the 11-7 alignment that the Stars went with, 11 forward, 7D last night in that game. I think they just handled it very, very well. And I think that is a big reason why Dallas won that game. I honestly think there's a chance they lose that game had they gone the other way. They go with just 6 defensemen, and they say, you know what, Miro, after 2 months, 3 months being out, we'll just put you right back in and give you 25 minutes plus of ice time. I think if that had happened, because you could tell with Miro last night, there were a couple of bobbles of the puck with him at the blue line. And you could tell a guy that's been out for months. And to just be able to ease him back in, and he still got an assist, by the way, even though it was, his first game in months. And, you could tell things weren't overly smooth for him throughout the course of the night. And yet he still was able to get a point last night in that game for the Dallas Stars. I just thought they handled it as a coaching staff very well. And now they'll have a chance to close it out. Again, I'm not going to rip on Hellebuck today. I don't think it was a terrible game by his standards. I would like a save with the Granlund shot, the first goal. I mean, it was under the glove and over the pad, and it was far out. And I saw the stat that Connor Hellebuck has given up 11 goals in these playoffs from 30 feet out or more. So he has been the king of giving up long-distance, long-range shots here in the playoffs. I would like to have seen them stop that one. I don't know if he could have done much with the other 2 goals that went in all honesty. But like I said, it's just, unfortunately for him, it's not going to quell the rhetoric, and it's not going to quell the narrative of the guy can't win on the road in the playoffs. Say what you will about how it wasn't the disaster for Hellebuck last night that we saw in, Game 3 of this series, or any of the games in St. Louis in the first round, or any of the games in Colorado in the first round last year, or any of the road games in Vegas in the first round 2 years ago. It was just a spot to me where last night, you look at it, it was an improvement, but at the end of the day, they're going to look at the final score and say, well, it's just another loss on the road for Connor Hellebuck, and it's now 1-11 in his last 12 on the road, and it's 6 or 7 straight now on the road in the playoffs that he's lost, and it's hard mentally to overcome that. And even you could see it on the broadcast or on the post game last night, that there's definitely some mental battles going on inside with Connor Hellebuck, no doubt. Meanwhile, you look at Jake Ottinger, and this guy is playing with great confidence, and he's talking in his Hockey Night in Canada interview last night after the game that he wants to be the number 1 goalie for Team USA at the Winter Olympics last year. And like I've said before, if he beats the guy that's been the number 1 goalie for the U.S. the last couple tournaments, including at the Four Nations, Connor Hellebuck, if he beats him head-to-head in this series, how the hell do you not have a valid case to make Jake Ottinger the number 1 goalie next year in Milan, in Italy, at the Winter Olympics for Team USA? So, like I said, that's why I kind of thought, and I said this before the series started, it's almost like you need to put a contract in there that winner of this series is guaranteed to be the starting goalie for USA next year. So, interesting to see how this series plays out with Game 5 in Winnipeg. Backs against the wall for the Jets. We'll see how they respond on home ice, as Dallas will look to close out that series and go back to the Western Conference Final for a 3rd straight year if they can finish off the Winnipeg Jets. All right, let's turn our attention to tonight. In the NHL, we got 2 games on tap. We will begin with the Florida Panthers and the Toronto Maple Leafs, bar none the best series of this second round. Vegas Edmonton's been pretty damn good, too. That's a clear number 2 as far as the most entertaining series in this round is concerned. But no question about it, slam dunk number 1 most entertaining series has been this one, the Panthers and the Leafs. Florida minus 140 road favorites. 5.5, the total shaded to the over. Series tied 2-2 with Game 5 here in Toronto tonight. Home teams won every game in this series. There is no doubt this is, to me, I look at this as one simple reality. One simple bit of reality for this game. It's a more important win for Toronto tonight than it is for Florida. I think if Florida goes down 3-2 and going back home for Game 6, I don't think they're done by any stretch of the imagination. I think Florida, if down 3-2 in this series with a loss tonight, could come back and win this series in 7 games very easily. They are certainly capable of doing that. But if the Toronto Maple Leafs lose Game 5 tonight at home, and the road team is Florida becomes the first road team in this series to win a game, I think it would be very difficult for Toronto to ask them, go down to Florida, where you're 0-2 in this series, win that game, and then come back home to Toronto for Game 7 and win that game, when last I checked, your track record of Game 7s overall, and even more so at home over the years, has not been any good. That would be a difficult task, I think, for the Toronto Maple Leafs. So I think for Florida, there's a pathway for them to still win this series if they lose tonight. I don't know if there's a pathway for Toronto if they lose this game tonight. That's how important it is. Panthers, I think, have a better chance to win 6 and 7 back-to-back to come back and win the series than the Leafs do. So that's why this game, to me, is huge here for the Toronto Maple Leafs tonight. They're coming off getting shut out 2-0. Game 4 was 100%, no argument, the best game Florida's played in this series. It looked like the Panthers, who just grind you down, shut you down, play terrific team defense, blocking shots, puck management off the charts, and Toronto really couldn't get anything going in that Game 4, in that 2-0 loss. They got outshot 37-23. Now, Toronto did themselves a disservice being in the fucking penalty box as much as they were in the first period. You just cannot generate flow and rhythm in your team game, especially at this time of year, if you're going to take 4 unanswered penalties in a row in the opening period. You're just setting yourself up to be, your top players can't get on the ice. You can't get to your offensive game. You can't get to your forecheck. You're stuck defending in your own zone. You're stuck playing the same old penalty-killing unit players over and over again, and you just are not able to get into your game and into your rhythm when out of the gate in Game 4, like the Leafs did, you take 4 straight penalties. It's just impossible. And I think that set them back. They really weren't able to get things going from that point on. And Florida was able to shut them down. And more importantly, we've had a laundry list of these type of games in the playoffs over the years from the Toronto Maple Leafs, where every single best player, top player, star player on this team could not be found with a telescope. I should have worn that shirt today, quite honestly. I didn't, but I should have, because you couldn't find any of them in Game 4. Mitch Marner didn't even have a damn shot on goal in Game 4 against Florida. Nylander, very passive game, considering what we've seen from him at times in these playoffs, where he's had multi-goal games and he's been very noticeable. And he had the unbelievable effort to put the empty net goal away in the Ottawa series in Game 6 to finish that one off. He was very passive, very, very quiet in Game 4. And then Austin Matthews, who, look, there are very real rumblings, and it would not shock me if we hear about this whenever the Leafs get bounced, if it happens from the playoffs, that he's got a wrist ligament injury. It's a significant one. And if you know about how an injury to your wrist can impact your ability to use it effectively, and by the way, shooting the puck, your wrist is pretty fucking important for that. Now, this is not totally excusing Austin Matthews. He's got to start, hitting the net. Hitting the net's been a problem for him I'm stunned that we've gone from a player that's had 69 goals last year to he's missing the net on 9 out of every 10 shots he attempts. I'm not joking either. You watch Matthews now for the last month or two. How is a man that scored 69 goals just a season ago, he can barely hit the net? And it's happening over and over again for him the last, the last couple months, and it's gotten even worse, I find, here in the playoffs. And I think there's some kind of wrist injury going on. I can't believe for a second that a bona fide goal scorer who has shown it for years in this league, including the incredible 69 goals of last year, has suddenly forgotten how to hit the fucking net. I can't buy that. I can't believe that for a second. It's got to be an injury that it's this bad. It's got to be an injury that it's this bad when it comes to Austin Matthews finding the net with his shot. That he's just missing the net so much. His goal scoring skills just evaporated. He forgot how to shoot the puck. He forgot how to shoot the puck accurately on net, on goal. I don't buy it. There's got to be something here injury related, and I think it's got to do with the wrist. And I'm hearing there's people close to the Leafs that kind of think the same thing, that it's a wrist injury or a ligament injury. And if it's a torn ligament in his wrist, no wonder the guy is having problems with the velocity of his shot, with the accuracy of his shot. You have issues, shooting the puck with your wrist, and good luck shooting the puck properly or with ferocity or with accuracy. That would explain everything as far as what we're seeing with Austin Matthews. And even if he is battling a wrist injury, his offense is important to the team, and not having it is hurting the Leafs right now. And look, I get what he's doing in all the other facets of the game. The great face-off prowess he's had, the terrific defensive play away from the puck. But, you'd love to see your captain, one of the best goal scorers in the NHL the last several years, just step up and get one for you in a moment like this, in a critical moment of this series, and quite honestly, not just this series, your whole damn season tonight. That's how important this is for the Toronto Maple Leafs. So it would just be nice to see, him get one. And I know, and if it's a wrist injury or a hand injury, whatever the case may be, then obviously that's going to impact him, no doubt. And I sympathize a little bit. Like, I don't want to rip Austin Matthews for not scoring and not showing up offensively, because I do see effort from him. And especially if it's a wrist injury, like the speculation is, I really don't want to be the guy that's just going to, rip on poor Austin Matthews in that scenario, because I know what the wrist injury, what it can do, and how it can impact your shot. But whether it's him, doesn't matter who it is. Maybe not Matthews tonight. Well, if it's not Matthews tonight, Marner's got to have more than 0 shots on goal. That's number one. Number two, Nylander's got to be driving the play, getting his chances, finding open ice, and more importantly, he's got to have the hustle away from the puck. There have been, a couple of instances, Ottawa Game 5, I think we saw it at times, Florida Game 4 the other night, where his hustle and his just focus and his diligence away from the puck is not good enough. This is Game 5 of the second round. It's the champs you're playing, man. You've got to give the 200-foot effort for all 60 minutes, for every shift, and that's what it's going to take tonight. If Toronto's going to end up winning this game. I like the draw. I think this could be overtime. It feels like this is going to be a good game, tight game. Florida's off a shutout loss. The original system play, it's like that Undertaker gift from, of course, WWE, The Undertaker, back from the dead. Yeah, the original system play is back from the dead here in the playoffs. It's been very profitable. I think the full game over, the first period over has failed once or twice, I believe, with the original system play in the playoffs, but the full game over is cashed in every game. Like with Carolina, Washington, a couple nights ago, we didn't hit the first period over with the system play, but we hit the full game over in that game. So I'm on the over by Fecta here with Panthers Leafs. Full game is 5-0. Yeah, I definitely knew, Jonathan, the full game was 5-0 or undefeated. So I like over 5.5 more than the first period, but I will take both because it is the system, and the system has found new life again as far as success. Remember, it was awesome until Four Nations and beyond. It just totally shit the bed, and it went right off the cliff how really poor the system play was with the first period over and the full game over in games for teams after a shutout loss. But it's heated back up here in the playoffs. We've got that system in play tonight. So I'm on the draw and I'm on the over by Fecta. Pre-game, we'll see what we find in-game. I'm not taking a side pre-game. I'm just going to enjoy it. I think what should be one hell of a game. It's such an important game. To me, it's more important for Toronto than it is for Florida. And not that Florida's going to want to take a 3-2 series lead. Make no mistake about it. And be the first road team to win tonight in this series. But to me, and I said this before Perlo joined the studio here, so I'll say it again. I can see Florida being down 3-2 winning this series. I'm not sure I can see that with Toronto. That's the difference. I think Florida could muster up some gusto to come be down 3-2, lose tonight, then win game 6 in Florida and come back to Toronto and win game 7. I think I could see Florida doing that. I think if Toronto goes down tonight, them winning 2 in a row against this team, I have a harder time buying into that. So that's kind of the way I see it. Perlo is with us here now. Welcome in, Perlo, to the Wednesday show. I already made the announcement, so I'll just reiterate it. That Perlo is manning the ship. He is steering the Ice Guys ship tonight when it comes to the Ice Guys live betcast. He will be hosting. You will not see me, although you may see me for about 5-10 minutes before I do my Wednesday night with Gabe Morency and Cam Stewart, late night at 11 p.m. Eastern. So I might hop on for just a little bit during the Oilers and Golden Knights game just before 11 p.m. Eastern. But this is Perlo, man. Hang out with Perlo. He'll be hosting the betcast tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern, Game 5, Panthers, Leafs, Oilers, Golden Knights, Patreon-exclusive live betcast to all our Patreon members. So make sure you tune in and you join the betcast. We've made the announcement, Perlo, your first time hosting the betcast here for us. And like I said, this was all your idea. I also made sure I mentioned that. This was not my idea. This was not for me and Cameron's brain to do a betcast tonight. The plan initially was we were only going to do the one last night, and then we'll have 2 next week. We weren't going to do a second betcast this week, but Perlo stepped up and said, I really want to do one. It would be great. He's very intrigued by these 2 games. I think that's a big part of it, too. Perlo's really fired up for these 2 games tonight, Panthers, Leafs, and Oilers, Golden Knights, and he said he really would love to be able to have that opportunity to do a betcast for these 2 games tonight. So ask and you shall receive. We have given him that opportunity. Perlo, I know you're excited about it.
Yeah, actually, yeah, it is. That's definitely it. But I think it's just great for the Patreon members for these 2 games to be able to be to participate in it and just have fun as a group watching what's going to be some fantastic hockey tonight. I really think that we're going to see some of the best hockey we've seen in the playoffs tonight. And you're bringing you to go to the game itself. Toronto here, like you said, has got to give the best effort they have this playoffs. And this is the thing. I think the best effort they gave was in game 1. And now I have to ask myself, can they do that again? Or can they do better than that? Do they need to be better than that? And I think at least they have to be that. Now, the difference here is Florida, after the first 2 losses, they came out publicly and said this is a different Toronto team. Then they go home and they adjust. And honestly, to me, Florida looked like they dominated Toronto. And I feel that they have the confidence that they can beat Toronto. They're going back into this game now knowing, okay, this is a different Toronto team, but we know who you are now. We know what you're about. We know how you're going to do things. And I have to trust Berube to make adjustments different from game 1. Because if they come out the same way in game 1 and they play the same game in game 1 and they put out the same effort, I think they can win this game, but I think it's less likely than they did in game 1. So there has to be some adjustments in the game here. And I've been kind of saying it all along. I think Berube has to vacate his idea that a shot is basically a giveaway. A bad shot from a bad area is a giveaway. I think they have to vacate that completely. What we see with Carolina, when you look at Carolina, with their high shot volume, and we say, oh, they can't score, but they have high shot volume. What they do is They beat people to pucks after they shoot. I agree, it is a giveaway. I agree with what Berube is saying. It's a giveaway if you don't beat them to the puck after you shoot it and it doesn't go in. And I think that's what has to happen tonight. And Florida is going to challenge them to do that tonight. If they don't do it, I don't see them winning this game. If they don't start getting more pucks to the net and they start shooting from areas that they normally don't shoot from and playing that type of game, I don't think they're winning this game. So the next question is, do I think they can do it? And my answer is no, I don't. I think Florida wins this game tonight. I think Florida has them figured out in every angle that they could that they know how to play in. Maybe in the offseason you can learn how to play that type of game, but as of right now, it hasn't been Toronto's type of game. And I don't think Toronto's game is beating Florida's game for the rest of the series. I think Florida's going to win this one, and I think Florida's going to win the next one. And Toronto's going to have to go back to the drawing board. And I would think otherwise, but you already mentioned the big thing in this series that is the problem. Matthews. Matthews is obviously hurt. He's obviously not himself. And if he was, I think we could see it.
This is dog shit on his part if he's not hurt. That's the way I see it. This is this is one of the all-time horrendous playoff performances for a player of his caliber if he is not hurt. That's why I have he's got to be
besides maybe Jack Eichel, but yeah, for sure. So I am taking Florida as a side to begin with. I am not putting a lot on it, mainly because one thing I do think could happen here, and I think is very possible, is the first period Toronto with that ultimate energy. Florida, I think, knows they have to get through that first 10 minutes and try to keep the score down as much as possible. I think they know that Toronto's going to they're going to waste themselves in that first 10 minutes. Like you've mentioned before, Toronto has to play from a lead in this. And I think Toronto will score first. I am taking that. I'm going to say Toronto does score first, and then I'm going to bet Florida to win the game. I think that's how this game is going to go. One thing I will say, there's one as far as props are concerned. Now, side and total, I want to say under here, but you're so good, and that system is the system. I just can't do
5-0. Full game over at least. There's been one or two first periods that have not cashed. But 5-0 full game over with the system in the playoffs.
Yeah, full game over. So Washington, it worked for Washington, Carolina. I can't go against it here against Toronto and Florida. So I'm thinking it's going to be something like, it could be. I have the draw here too, because there's my gut says it's an under. I can't go against the system. I do think it's going to be tight. If it is going to go over, I believe it's going to be Florida getting 4 and Toronto getting 2, and we won't get the draw. But it could be 3-3, I suppose. But something tells me, like, I got to put a little bit on the draw, because it's possible that Toronto's effort keeps them going all the way through to the end, and they pull off a draw here. I do like draw first period, though. I think I'm going to take Toronto to score. And I think Florida will come back and probably pot one in the first period. I do like draw first period, so I'm going to take draw first period. As you can tell, I'm kind of all over the place in this. My main pick here is somehow I think Florida wins this game. That's my main pick on this one. My second main pick is because Matthews isn't well, obviously, and Marner was called out by Berube. They're saying that he has to shoot more, and I do think he will shoot more, maybe today for sure. But I don't feel that as much as I think Tavares will shoot more. I think Tavares will shoot the lights out today, and you can get him at over 2.5 at -130. He's the captain out there. He's going to have to pick up the slack for Matthews, and I think if Toronto does win this, Tavares is going to be the leader on this team and is going to be the reason why they do. So I'm looking at Tavares props as far as that goes. Also, I think that Toronto is going to get more shots to the net. And they are going to play a very aggressive, hard on your stick type game, which means I don't think Florida is going to get as many shots as they usually do. But I think Toronto will get more towards the net. And Gustav Forsling has been blocking a lot as of late. And I'm going to go with Gustav Forsling over blocks here. I have several other ones. Go to my at Perlo's NHL POW on Twitter. You can get in there and I can tell you what the rest of them are. But this is going to be an amazing game. And if Toronto wins, then fantastic. I was wrong. And I want to give Berube props, but I just think Florida can beat you in so many different ways that Toronto's energy in the end may not win out on this one.
By the way, I forgot to mention, obviously, we got the other system, where the losing team of the previous game scoring in the first period. I do like that. It's around minus 130 with Toronto to get a goal in the first period. I do like that. I will be on that. I'm going to dabble actually in Leafs team total over 2.5 tonight, minus 110. It's minus 115 actually is the price with that. Look, they scored 4, and now with the concern with this is obviously, did Bobrovsky find his game, and now we're getting elite Bob for the rest of the series, because boy, that was much closer to champion goaltender Sergei Bobrovsky in Game 4. He got better in that game. That being said, in Toronto, he gave up 9 goals, in the first 2 games combined early in this series. Can Toronto have that kind of offensive success? And remember, with this team total only being 2.5, they only need 3. And I look back to see Toronto's previous instance here in these playoffs where they were shut out. And that was Game 5 against Ottawa, where they got blanked 4-0 in that game. They did score 4 in the closeout game. They bounced back. They scored 4 goals in Game 6 against Ottawa. Now, Florida's better than Ottawa. We're not disputing that. But like I said, I think asking the Leafs just to get 3 goals, I think they could get to 3 tonight still in this game. 2.5, it's reasonable. They did that the last time they were shut out. I definitely feel that's a safer approach with Toronto than asking them to win the game, in my opinion, because I don't fully trust them to win the game. I'm kind of leaning Toronto, to be honest, but like I said, I don't fully trust them.
I agree.
All this pressure on them.
You're leaning Toronto. If you think Toronto for sure team total over, they'll have to score 3. I'm pretty sure. I don't think they're going to shut down Florida 2-1 in this game.
No doubt. There are a lot of props that I like in this game as well. We'll mention them. Aaron Ekblad to get a point is a great bet. His 4 straight games with a point for him. He seems to be getting involved again in what the Panthers are doing offensively, and you're getting plus money for him to get a point. He's also got points in 9 of 10 games entering tonight, and that goes back to the regular season. So Aaron Ekblad to get a point. Barkov's on a 3-game point streak. Matthew Tkachuk. Carter Verhaeghe's a reasonable price, and he always seems to burn Toronto, and he's starting to heat up now. Goals in back-to-back games for Carter Verhaeghe. So whether it's a point prop or a goal prop for him, definitely worth a shot, in my opinion. Like I said, Ekblad, assist or point or both. You could look at that. Sam Bennett, 2 straight games with a point. Remember, he had a game or 2 here and there where he's not registered a point, but more often than not, he has 2 straight games for him with a point. As far as the Leafs are concerned, Hungry Nyes, we're going to look at Matthew Nyes. He's got to be one of the guys to make an impact for the Leafs tonight in this game. Max Pacioretty, don't forget what he did in the first 2 games of this series in Toronto. So him with Tavares and Nylander. I keep hearing that Craig Berube is making some kind of lineup change tonight. The question is what it's going to be. Some people are speculating Yarncroke might be out and David Kampf is going to come into the playoffs for the first time. He hasn't played a game yet in these playoffs, but Kampf gives them, and the thought about putting Kampf in, he's a good penalty killer. Matthews won't have to be on the penalty kill nearly as much, and it'll give him more opportunity and time to focus on maybe getting his offense going if that does happen. So we'll see. Craig Berube is definitely making a change. He didn't say what, though, in the morning press conference. And he also made it look like in the morning skate, they didn't show their cards at all. So it sounds like there's going to be some kind of change for the Leafs. And there is a change for Florida, and we do know of it. Evan Rodriguez is out for the Florida Panthers tonight. He won't play in Game 5. They didn't say why. Undisclosed injury, though, is likely the case. Because of the hit he took. Actually, there was a hit he took in Game 4. It's probably related to that. Jesper Boquist is going to be in the lineup. And not only that, multiple places, RotoWire, Daily Faceoff, any Panthers
Top line.
reporter or writer that you see has him on the top line tonight for the Panthers, set to play alongside Alexander Barkov and Sam Reinhart on that top line. So you got to believe we got to look and investigate Jesper Boquist as some player prop value here in this game tonight, if he is indeed going to be in that spot for the Florida Panthers, playing with Barkov and Reinhart. No question, the value just goes through the roof for him. We'll see what they've got right now. It looks like I'm seeing plus 500 right now at DraftKings, plus 500 at the score bet for Jesper Boquist goal prop tonight in this game. You got to dabble something in that if he's going to be up there with Barkov and Reinhart on the top line. So I like it. I like the value of Jesper Boquist there, assuming he's going to be on that top line tonight for Florida.
There's something else I want to mention about that. I forgot about that. Boquist going on the top.
Yeah, Robertson could be in too, Jonathan, because they did get shut out last game. Toronto, I could see them putting Nick Robertson in. He does have skill. He does have the ability to be an offensive difference maker, and maybe they feel they need a little more of that. I think he's been punished long enough for that penalty he took early in the Ottawa series, because he hasn't played since then. This might be the right time to get him back in there.
But they took Verhaeghe off that line, and they put Verhaeghe down on the second line. Boquist is very, very, very good defensively. So that tells me that what they're looking to do is to shut down that Matthews line and dare Toronto to win on their second and third lines.
That's an excellent
good
point.
Thing to do,
because that line kind of ripped them up in the first two games.
That's right.
Yeah, in Toronto. When Toronto had last line change. Yep.
Yeah, they're daring that top line to beat that shutdown line, and that's kind of why I like Florida here, because that shutdown line is fantastic. And now you got Verhaeghe. So Verhaeghe, Bennett props, that third line slip in there, that's still got tons of value. That Lundell, Marchand, they're going to try to beat them with the second and third lines. And if you look at Toronto's second and third lines, take a look, go on to Puckpedia and see how many points they've got. Not much. So they're going to dare them to get that depth scoring going for them.
Yeah, the second line was great in the two games in Toronto, and we didn't see much from them in Florida the last two games, Game 3 and Game 4. Pacioretty and Tavares and Nylander.
I meant to say third and fourth line. Third and fourth line. There's nothing.
You're absolutely right about that. I mean, look at Yarncroke, Lawton, Steven Lorentz, Holmberg. Holmberg's another guy I could see him coming out, because he's been, he's just not going to give you anything offensively. McMahon has totally hit the skids. Bobby McMahon, he's ice cold right now. Domi, of course, did get obviously a big goal earlier in this series for the Toronto Maple Leafs. It was back in Game 2. He got a goal and an assist in that Game 2 victory. But really, other than Domi, you're getting zip, nada, squatch, nothing. Zilch from that third and the fourth line offensively right now for the Toronto Maple Leafs. So again, I like the interesting move by Paul Maurice, another defensive stalwart put up there on the top line to counter the Leafs top line, knowing that Toronto's got last line change. So it's a great coaching battle going on here. And we know Craig Berube is making some changes. It's just a question of what. We'll find out right before puck drop. What a game that should be. This game hopefully is good too, because the last game, certainly the first period, was nuts. It's like they were playing on steroids in the first period, Oilers and Golden Knights in Game 3. It was just wild with the pace and the frenetic action and all the scrums. And there was the Frederick and Haig fight, and Aiden Hill losing his mind after the Edmonton Oilers crashing his crease over and over again. Just a crazy, wild start to that game. It did settle down after that, and it was one of the best games the Oilers are capable of playing. Can they replicate that in a potential closeout game tonight in Vegas? We've got the Golden Knights minus 130, home favorites, 6.5 the total. Edmonton leading the series 3-1. I do not want any part of Vegas. None. I respect their home ice, and I respect what kind of a desperation, sense of urgency, effort I think we're going to get from Vegas tonight. I'm at the point where I'm not sure it's enough. That's where I'm at right now with the Golden Knights. I see them getting worse, not better, in this series with each game. I see the Oilers getting better, not worse, with each game. And at this point in time, maybe at some point, this has to stop with Skinner with Game 4 through 7 in a series.
Mm-hmm.
But the results don't lie. The stats don't lie. I can't explain it, how this goaltender, who's going to get the start again tonight, for the Oilers is 4-11 with a 8-something save percentage. It's brutal in game 1, 2, and 3 of a playoff series. And you get him in the most important games of the series, 4, 5, 6, and 7. The last 2 years, he is 11-1 with a 942 save percentage and 2 shutouts, including one in game 4 the other night. Turns into Bernie Parent, Marty Brodeur, Patrick Waugh, whatever goalie from the past you want to use. That's what he turns into, Stuart Skinner, in these 4 through 7 games in a series. It's just ridiculous. The only loss was game 7 in the Stanley Cup final against Florida last year. And newsflash, he played pretty well in that game. Could he have maybe stopped the wrist shot from Reinhart that made it 2-1? Was the eventual game and series winner? Maybe. But he played solid in that game. They didn't lose because of Stuart Skinner. They lost that game 7 because they only scored 1 fucking goal. That's why they lost Edmonton. Skinner did everything he could. That's the one loss in 12 games for Stu Skinner when starting in a game 4, a game 5, a game 6, or a game 7 in a playoff series the last 2 years combined. I'm not going against that. I'm not saying it's going to continue and he's going to win every 4, 5, 6, 7 the rest of the playoffs for Edmonton, but I'm not going against that, especially when what Vegas is doing offensively is so underwhelming right now. Eichel, terrible, non-existent. Stone's not 100%. I'm convinced he's not 100%. He almost didn't play the other night against Edmonton. I'm not convinced he's 100%. Barbashev is ice cold. That whole line is doing bubkus for this Vegas Golden Knights team. And credit to Edmonton, even without Ekholm, their blue line has found ways to neutralize them. Dorofeyev has been very quiet since he's been back in these playoffs for the most part. Very quiet. Not been he's been a regular season merchant. That's what I'm seeing right now from Pavel Dorofeyev. Tomas Hertl, where the hell's he? This is a guy they thought would put them over the top offensively. Got him from San Jose just to make their attack even more dynamic and explosive. And I'm not seeing enough from him here moving forward. Brett Howden, William Karlsson, and Riley Smith has been a great line for them, but that shouldn't happen. And that's no disrespect to them. They played well. That's been their best line the last several games from what I see. Brett Howden, William Karlsson, and Riley Smith, who, of course, had the game winner for Vegas in game 3, the one game they won in this series. You're just not getting much from anybody else. And then you start to look at what you're getting from the Oilers. They've won multiple games now where McDavid and Draisaitl are kind of quiet because Nugent Hopkins is stepping up. Adam Henrique gets 2 goals like he did the other night. Scory Perry is making an impact. Janmark chips in. Connor Brown chips in. Where's the supplementary offense for Vegas? That's the issue right now. And, that's the thing. McDavid and Draisaitl have been kept under wraps, and Edmonton's still thriving. Vegas has Eichel, Stone, and Barbashev kept under wraps, and nobody else really is doing the job other than Riley Smith in that line. Actually, and Karlsson's been okay. That's it for Vegas. So those other guys need to step up for them. Yeah, there's no doubt, Jonathan, 100% Dorofeyev still bothered by that injury. Now, again, at this time of year, the fans don't want to hear excuses. They want results. They want wins. They want to see their team win a cup. But I think there's definitely some truth to that Dorofeyev's not 100% right now for the Vegas Golden Knights. So, look, can Vegas extend the series? Will they reach down inside and pull out an effort that keeps them alive in the series? They could. They've got that kind of character. It's not a character issue for Vegas. They've got character. They won a cup 2 years ago. A lot of those players are still on this team, the majority. They're not going to go down without a fight. I just don't know if they're good enough. It's really that simple. And at this price, I'm going to take a shot that the Oilers go in there and end this series tonight. So I'm going to take Edmonton here plus 110. I'm going to take Edmonton team total because I worry like hell about Adin Hill's temperament right now and his mental state and mental frame of mind. That looked like a goalie that's just his wires. He went off the rails. Let's be honest. His wires are crossed. That's what it looked like in game 3. The guy's focusing on retribution and attacking Evander Kane when he gets run into and slashing Oiler players going through his crease, after all the contact he thought he had. I think he's in a bad frame of mind, and obviously he's been confirmed as the starter. They're going to sink or swim with Adin Hill. I don't like where his mental state is right now. To be able to play goal in the Stanley Cup playoffs and to be able to do it at a high level against a team with two of the best players in the sport, like McDavid and Draisaitl on the other side, you have to have clarity in your mind. You have to have clarity upstairs and focus and, paying attention to the things you need to be paying attention to, which is stopping the puck. And now especially in game 4, Adin Hill's focusing more on, attacking Evander Kane, slashing guys that go through his crease, and his state of mind is nowhere near where it needs to be right now. And that's concerning for me. I think there's a lot of signs that point to right now Edmonton being good enough to finish this series tonight in game 5. And I think the fact that they got knocked out in the postseason 2 years ago by Vegas keeps them fueled to say, you know what, let's not let this go. Let's not have just rely on and sit back on our laurels and sit back on a game 6 at home. Let's try to end this damn thing tonight. If you're Edmonton. So I will take Vegas to score in the first period because it's the angle, and that's got to be the strongest part of their game. They got to get on the board early, and it's the angle. So I will take Vegas to get a first period goal. But other than that, I'm on Edmonton money line plus 110. I'm on Edmonton team total over 3.5 here in this game at a great plus price. Plus 130 is what you can get with that. And I'm on the third period over because it's an elimination game, no doubt. I like the third period over in particular. Pregame, being able to take that. Make sure you shop around. BetMGM is a book where you can bet the third period over pregame there. And you can get it at that book with the third period totals. I will look for a live over. I'm not rushing to bet over 6.5 pregame tonight. We did finally see an under. We know the stats for Stuart Skinner in games 4 through 7 are gaudy. They're phenomenal. And I'm not sold this is an over tonight because of that. I think Edmonton will do the bulk of the scoring because I like their team total here tonight. But again, third period over. You can get that right now at, let me just check here on BetMGM with the third period total. But yeah, definitely over 2 is what you can get with that at minus 160. Not great. But I sprinkled on the over 2 here, minus 160. Empty net goal. Oh, there's Alex in the chat. There he is. Yeah, empty net goal. Yep, that's become kind of a go-to for me in elimination games too. Empty net goal. Or you could take each team to get an empty net goal. That's also an option if you want to maximize your return just a little bit. You could go with that as well, the empty net goal from either of the teams in this game rather than just betting for any empty net goal from either team. So that's definitely an option to have as well tonight. So keep that in mind. But there you go. That's what I'm looking at with Oilers Golden Knights. There are some props that I'm going to be looking at as well, but we'll get Perlo's thoughts first. On game 5 tonight, the Oilers looking to close out the Golden Knights.
Well, I can be proud to be an Oilers fan for once in my life. I gotta say, they are. Well, this is what you're asking me to do to take Vegas. You're asking me to ignore the fact that they barely beat a Minnesota team that had one line that in that series. You're asking me to take a Vegas team that really who won one game in this series barely on a fluky goal. In a game where if you were to go to Money Puck, you would see they had about a 40% chance to win. And you're asking me to ignore all that because it's a desperate spot for them that it's all going to come together tonight against an Edmonton team that's beating them with depth scoring. They're beating them with whether they get good goaltending or not. They're beating them. That's the big thing. Okay, if they get good goaltending, and we have you brought good stats up that Skinner is really good when it comes to game 5, 6, and 7. They still have the offensive depth that can beat Vegas. And I have to figure that somehow Stone looks good, which he doesn't. I have to figure somehow Dorofeyev is miraculously healed because he's not right.
And they're beating the hell out of Alex Pietrangelo in this series. And it shows you what a great coach Knobloch is. He puts Kapanen in. I swear I saw Kapanen hit Pietrangelo like 2 or 3 times in game 4. And there was one time that Pietrangelo's feeling it, and he's got his head down on the bench because he's in so much pain. Yeah. I mean, all his moves paid off. Kapanen for Arvidsson, great move. Kapanen played his tail off the other night. Yeah. He was phenomenal. And, of course, I didn't love Emberson getting sat down, Perlo. But I'll admit Troy Stetcher was terrific. in game 4. He was really, really solid. So again, Chris Knobloch, he did this last year too. Decisions when to put Skinner back in, decisions when to take him out, decisions when to move this guy up, this guy down the lineup, take this guy out, put that guy in. He made the right call most of the time last year in the playoffs, and he did it again the other night. You got to admit, he's pushed the right buttons. This guy's done great with the lineup decisions, Chris Knobloch.
Well, and I'll bring his name up again so you can wince and throw your fist in the air. A big difference between a guy like Hiller in the previous series who doesn't understand that fresh legs makes a player better. Stetcher overall is probably not better than Emberson. Not at all, actually. But Stetcher on fresh legs compared to Everson, who's been through a series, that's a different thing altogether. Same as Kapanen. Kapanen's got fresh legs in this game. Also, talk about fresh legs. Kane props tonight again. I've been making ton off of him. He's got fresh legs in this series because they convinced him to not play till the playoffs started. And that guy has more legs than anybody on the ice from what I can see, besides McDavid, of course. But you know what I'm saying when you're talking about players. The guy's playing like a bat out of hell. And that's depth scoring that Vegas really doesn't have right now. Carlson doesn't have it. I don't see anything. Even Roy, who usually comes up big in here, he's not doing much. You're going to ask a guy like Smith, or it's sort of like the Toronto game. To me, I'm taking Florida because they are daring Toronto's depth scoring to win that game. Edmonton's going to do the same with Vegas, and I just don't see it. So I'm with you. I am definitely with you. I'm taking pretty much the exact same thing. I'm taking Edmonton money line. I'm taking Edmonton in regulation. I'm taking Edmonton team total over 3.5. And I'm contemplating, because it's plus money, on taking Vegas team total. In fact, I think I'm going to. I'm going to take team total under 2.5. Now, again, we have a system play here, but I'm not so sure that Vegas is going to be able to contribute enough to get this over, to tell you the honest truth. They should put out their best effort, but I don't see Edmonton. Like, usually when you go like a home team's going to give their best effort, there's like maybe a letdown spot for the road team, and they can capitalize that. You mentioned it very well. Edmonton is, I don't see any dead spots here. This is a team that feels they should have won the cup already. They know the mistakes they made. They have a great coach. I don't see a dead spot here. I think they keep up with Vegas all over the game. I'm even considering going, no, actually, I'm going to take it. I'm going to take Edmonton minus 1.5 here too, because it gets to the end of the game. Vegas pulls a goaltender. You know, you're going to have Edmonton minus 1.5. So that's what I'm taking in this game. I'll challenge Vegas to change everything I've seen all playoffs. Sure, I'll challenge it. And like you said, Hill, that stuff that he's doing, I don't think is a frustration with the other team. I think it's a frustration with his own team. His own team doesn't have it, and he knows it, and he feels desperate. He feels down. He feels like he's not getting the help that he's used to getting, especially when they won the cup last time. And he doesn't want to take it out on his teammates, so he's taking it out on the opposition, and it's not working out well or looking good for him.
Yeah, this is another system play too, like the Florida-Toronto game with Vegas off the shutout loss. I don't like this one nearly as much, although, again, it is 5-0 in the playoffs for the full game. I'm going to see if I can try to get the full game at 5.5, though, rather than 6.5. That's my approach. I mean, I'm not running to take it over 6. I mean, I obviously am not betting an under in the with the series, the system play in effect, but I think I would rather have a 5.5 here than the current 6.5, because I could see this being 4-2 like game 1, where it actually went over the 5.5, stayed under the 6.5. It could be Matt Robinson special. There you go.
JD, that's a good one. Oh, the only thing is Edmonton to score an empty net goal. They're the worst team in the world. Maybe I shouldn't take the minus 1.5 because they can't score an empty net goal to save their life.
Yeah, no doubt. So, like I said, I think when I look at this game, the system play, I like the theory. I like it a lot more in the Florida-Toronto game because of, well, first of all, the 2 games in Toronto flew over the total. And second of all, Toronto also went over the total in their time that they were shut out, and they bounced back and it went over the total. And I like it 5.5 with that game. You got a 6.5 with juice in this game.
Yeah,
That's why I don't like it as
I don't
much.
like it. No.
But it is a system play game, and again, it's 5-0 full game over with the system play.
Well, maybe
So,
what I should do then, if I like Edmonton so much, is I'll take Edmonton money line. I'll go to BetMGM and I'll take the over 5.5 parlay. Might as
Yep.
well.
prop wise, you mentioned a few that you liked here, Perlo for Edmonton, Vegas. Definitely you mentioned Evander Kane. I could see it for sure. I think he's been pretty solid for this group. He's gotten points in 3 of the last 5 games. By the way, Bouchard, 2 games in a row with a point for the Edmonton Oilers. And really for Edmonton, it's become much trickier for props because it could be a different player now most nights. They've got Colson and Kapanen with Draisaitl in the last game. Nuge, McDavid, and Hyman, but Kane, Henrique, and Brown has been. That's the line I think that could do some damage. I mean, we saw 2 goals from Henrique, obviously, in game 4, or game 3 rather, for the Oilers. Yeah, it was game 4. Game 4 for the Oilers, Adam Henrique. They've been really solid. So we'll see if they can make another impact. Again, got to give the blue line credit. And keep in mind, they don't have Ekholm, and they were given an update on Ekholm's status yesterday that if they get to the conference finals, which is looking more and more likely, there's a chance he'll be back for a conference finals, Matthias Ekholm, or at least at some point during the series. And obviously that's music to the ears of anybody that is an Edmonton Oilers fan. And to see how they played, though, without him, the likes of Kulak, Bouchard, Nurse, Stetcher expected to stay in, Wallman and Klingberg. They've definitely gotten better as a group. And as a unit, they're doing for Edmonton what Dallas is doing without Miro Heiskanen. They found a way to make it work on the blue line. And even though you're without your best guy.
Man. Paul Coffey.
Yeah.
Guy's a defenseman whisperer, just like Burke is a.
The work he has done has clearly had some impact and influence on making this team play better with the disjointed parts there. Let's be honest. That is not on paper a 1 through 6 awesome blue line. Yet they are maximizing everyone's individual potential because I think they've got an assistant coach in Paul Coffey that's a brilliant defenseman in his playing days that is really helping them out. I think that is definitely significant. All right, shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. And make sure if you're a Patreon member, you join us tonight for another Ice Guys Patreon exclusive live betcast hosted by the man you see next to me here, Perlo. He will be the one hosting the betcast tonight, so make sure you join him for both the Leafs and the Panthers and the Oilers and the Golden Knights. Game 5 tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time. The betcast will begin tonight, so make sure you join Perlo. Again, if you're a Patreon member, you can tune in to the live betcast and join Perlo on the stream during the betcast. The only way to tune into the betcast and join Perlo on the stream, become a Patreon member, $10 per month, patreon.com/Ice Guys. Goalie charts, totals charts, our daily betting card, sides, totals, player props posted each and every day on the Patreon page. Plus, of course, access to all our exclusive live betcasts for the rest of the playoffs, including tonight's betcast, tonight's surprise bonus betcast hosted by the one and only Perlo. So make sure you join Perlo tonight for the betcast. And to do that, sign up $10 per month at patreon.com/Ice Guys. Your subscription goes a long way to supporting the show. So make sure you get on board before tonight's betcast. $10 per month at patreon.com/Ice Guys. And also check out the Ice Guys store. Get your gear and your merch. How about Peanut rocking the Robinson's hat last night on the betcast, supporting Matt and Ryan Robinson last night. That was great to see. That's available. All the great merch still available too. Hoodies, T-shirts, caps, you name it. Patreon.com/Ice Guys. Oh, Jonathan Davis saying Mark Stone could be out tonight for this game. Yeah, if he's not, he looked like he was not even close to 100% the other night. Get a healthy body, get a fresh body in there, at this point. He's compromised as it is, I think, based on what I saw last game. So if he doesn't play, then you've got, let me try to see what options they would have. They've got, I'm trying to see who they're bought. Ronberg, Schwint, Alexander Holtz probably would come in. That would be my guess. We'll see. But apparently Jonathan's hearing that there's a decent chance Mark Stone's a no-go tonight for the Vegas Golden Knights. All right, good stuff. Oh, Matt Robinson he's just loving this, hearing about the plight of, yeah, I'm sure Matt Robinson's not shedding any tears for Mark Stone's plight right now, the man that took Miro Heiskanen out a few months ago. Toss him on long-term injured reserve and try and trade for a Finnish hockey player, Matt says. Oh, boy. Vicious, Matt Robinson there when it comes to his buddy, Mark Stone. No buddy of his, I can tell you that. All right, great stuff. Hit the like button. We'll be back with Bargain Bin Special of the Night and Best Bets coming up in just a moment, right after we hear from our great Ice Guy sponsors.
Support for the Ice Guys podcast is provided by Boston Hemp Incorporated, Tailgaters Social, and a big thank you to all that subscribe to the Ice Guys Patreon page. Everyone loves a perfect pair. Bacon and eggs. Thunder and lightning. Mario and Luigi. A hot dog with fries. Ian and Alex B. That's right. Everyone loves a perfect pair. So why not pair up your game nights with Boston Hemp? From exotic flower to concentrates and edible products. You'd be hard-pressed to find a better pairing than Boston Hemp and hockey. Check them out today at bostonhempinc.com. That's bostonhempinc.com. Boston Hemp Incorporated, the official smoke sponsor of the Ice Guys. Void where prohibited by law. Not available outside of the United States. Must be 21 or over to obtain products. Check your local regulations to see if Boston Hemp is available in your area.
Hey, Alex, have you checked out the latest with the great trading platform Kalshi?
Yes, I have. It's been fantastic. This is one of the first and only federally regulated prediction markets in the U.S. And if you're looking for odds for all kinds of different things, not just what we're talking about, the markets in the Stanley Cup, the NBA Finals, you can trade with crypto. You can look for trades within the markets involving entertainment, politics. There's all kinds of different markets you can look from, and you can use the odds over at Kalshi.
Time of year to get involved with Kalshi. Certainly if you're a sports fan, Stanley Cup playoffs, NBA playoffs, baseball now underway, with all the different markets to create winning trades. Make sure you're checking out all that Kalshi has to offer.
Absolutely. And if you're trading with Kalshi, use the link kalshi.com/iceguys. You trade $100 or more, they will send you $10 back. So it's fantastic to use, like I said, any kind of markets beyond sports. We're talking entertainment, politics, crypto, basically anything you want.
So make sure you sign up, kalshi.com/iceguys. Note that it's live on Robinhood and available in all 50 states, making it the first legal place to trade on these kind of events nationwide. Check it out, kalshi.com/iceguys. Shout out to all our great sponsors, Boston Hemp Inc., 20% off using the promo code IceGuys. And also make sure you check out the great trading platform, kalshi.com/iceguys. All right, bargain bin special of the night for this Wednesday. 2 Game 5s taking place. Perlo, we'll start with you. Bargain bin special. What do you got?
I'm going to do 2 like you usually do, 1 from each game. And I'm going to go with Boquist there in the, up there on the top line with Florida. And I just celebrated the heck out of Kane. I can't do it for a goal. He's just under. He's at 295. I can't find him over anywhere. So if you can't find him for a goal, I still love him. I'm going to take him over 1.5 points at +600.
All right, there you go. I like it. Over 1.5 points for Perlo there for his bargain bin special of the night for this Wednesday. My bargain bin special for tonight, I'm going to give you one from each game once again here tonight for the Florida-Toronto game. Let me see what I'm going to go with Boquist. I'm taking advantage of the value. Plus 500.
We're both going to take that.
Yeah, plus 500 the score bet. I'm taking that. Playing on the top line. You don't get plus 500 for a top line player every day. Fresh, legs as well coming into the lineup for Paul Maurice tonight. So Jesper Boquist, Florida, plus 500 from that game for my bargain bin special of the night. And for my Edmonton bargain bin special of the night, he was just his motor was off the charts the other night. His motor was off the charts. He did have a couple of chances. He punished Pietrangelo, and he played a physical game. He played a hard game. He played a fast game. And Chris Knoblauch looked like a genius putting him in the lineup. I'm going for the gusto. Kasperi Kapanen, Edmonton, plus 950 to find the back of the net for the Oilers. FanDuel's got that price, best price available. So there you go. We're going for some big swings tonight. Jesper Boquist, Florida, plus 500. And Kasperi Kapanen for Edmonton, plus 950 for my bargain bin specials for this Wednesday night. All right, best bets. Perlo, what do you got for best bet?
I'm going to do two again. I'll take one from each game. One is a prop, and I mentioned it. I do think that Tavares is going to be shooting the lights out. And at minus 120 over 2.5 shots, I think it's huge value. He's already going over it on a regular basis. On a game like this, and Matthews being not where he is, I think he'll step up and do that. And I'm just going to make it simple. I'm just taking Oilers money line plus 110. I think the Oilers are going to take that tonight.
All right, there you go. Two best bets, Oilers money line plus 110. John Tavares for Toronto over 2.5 shots on goal for Perlo with his best bets. My best bet, just one for tonight. We're going to the system play in Florida, Toronto. Over 5.5, minus 120. The two games in Toronto went over the total in this series, game 1 and game 2. Leafs off a shutout loss. The Leaf game, by the way, against Ottawa, when they were shut out the previous game, that did go over the total as well. It was a 4-2 Toronto win in game 6 against Ottawa, the closeout game. 5-0, full game over for the system play. Team off a shutout loss in the playoffs so far this season. So we'll go with Panthers Leafs over 5.5, minus 120 for my best bet here for this Wednesday. Make sure you join us tonight. Our guy Perlo is going to be holding it down with our live exclusive Patreon exclusive live Stanley Cup playoffs betcast, 7 p.m. Eastern, game 5, Florida, Toronto, Edmonton, Vegas. Is there anything you want to say, Perlo, one last time to promote this thing tonight? Because it's all you.
Well, first of all, if you haven't already, it's for the betcast tonight is wonderful, and we always do well. We actually, by the way, Peanut, one of our members last night, you got to give him props there for getting Granlund for the hat trick at plus 800. That's the kind of stuff that happens on there. We have a blast. You make a little money, have a few laughs, almost always good laughs going on. You get Massey coming on in the late hours to just put a nice little perspective, and you just can't help but appreciate his sarcasm and negativity. That it's just freaking awesome. Yeah, a lot of great characters, and that's what it's all about. We all get to know each other. You get to know some of the people in the chat that you talk to every day. It's a heck of a lot of fun. That's why I offered it up, because it's just fun. I could do it all the time. So make sure you put yourself, it's only $10. And not only that, you get all the picks that they put out, their card every day, all of that stuff. Try to find a place out there that charges for picks that you get only going to pay $10 for the service that you're providing here. You're just not going to find it. So I'll have fun tonight. I got big shoes to fill, which I won't fill, so I'm gonna have fun doing it though. Just spelling Ian and enjoying ourselves tonight. So I'll hopefully see you there.
I'm not going to be there. Alex is not going to be there, but still, support tuning into the betcast tonight as a Patreon member and joining as a Patreon member for $10 per month. You're still supporting the show, and that means everything. So make sure you give our guys some support, show some love for Perlo, and join him for the Ice Guys live betcast tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time for Panthers Leafs, Oilers Golden Knights. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, Download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms: Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. Great advice there. Perlo, don't fuck it up, says Jonathan Davis. That's hilarious. Yeah. It's almost like when you come home from vacation and you see the house burned down or the kids did something to.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how I managed to do that, but
hopefully we've still got Betcast standing after tonight. But no, Perlo will do a great job in all seriousness. So make sure you join him tonight. For Perlo, I'm Ian Cameron. Enjoy the games and good luck. Patreon members, tune in tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern, for the live Betcast hosted by Perlo. And, of course, we'll be back with you tomorrow on Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern, for another edition of the Ice Guys.